Good morning, guys. Oh, so this is Friday. Thank God for Friday, huh? How about thank God for every day? Let's go on ahead and get started reading. Special situation. My stomach feels as if it burns all the time. As you begin this new way of eating less food, keep in mind that your body has done its best to adapt and adjust to the extremes of large meals or binges and the starvation or deprivation you have given it through the years. One of the ways the body has adapted is by producing enough stomach acid to accommodate or digest the huge amounts of food you have been eating. The amount of stomach acid that is produced is a supply and demand kind of deal. The more that is needed, the more that will be produced. As you need less, the supply will taper off to adjust to the need. Before the Raydown workshop, your stomach did not know if it was going to swallow 10,000 calories or just swallow a liquid diet drink, because your head, or a sheet of paper, not your stomach, decided what and how much to eat. It will take some time to adjust. For most participants, this is about 1 to 3 weeks, but rest assured that hyperacidity will go away. The hyperacid condition can play a role in after-meal indigestion. Occasionally, you may feel burning right after eating. If you know that you did not overeat, then the burning is just one of the sensations of hyperacidity or too much stomach juices. If you have overeaten over the years, the spinster, I guess. I never could quite pronounce that. Spinster. A circular muscular ring at the base of the esophagus that keeps food in the stomach may be weakened. The spinster that muscle at the top of the stomach. Its normal position is tightly closed. If it is relaxed or the stomach is overly full, reflux of the acidic food and fluids occurs. The acid then comes in contact with the sensitive lining of the esophagus and causes the burning sensation called heartburn. Avoid lying down after eating if you experience it. What about antacids? Sometimes taking a small amount might help, but please do not eat antacids as if they were candy. Antacids reduce the acidity of stomach fluids, making them more basic. Acidity is measured on a pH scale of 1 to 14, with 7 being neutral. Acidity increases as the pH number goes down. A fluid with a pH of 4 is 10 times more acidic than one with a pH of 5. See figures 6 through 8. Anyway, it does it. It shows it. Like, gives you a comparison of what's acidy and what's not. Soap is down with more basic. Soap is closer to more basic and lye. Pure water, human blood is normal. And then, of course, battery acid, stomach fluids, vinegar, and all that. Before the food can leave the stomach, excuse me, the acidity has to increase to 1.5 on the pH scale. That is very acidic. Taking an antacid will delay the moving of the food from the stomach to the small intestine. Be moderate in all things. Let the body adjust naturally. And so for any of you who are suffering from acid reflux or from heartburn, it will ease off. I suffered from acid reflux bad. I couldn't even lay on my side. I couldn't lay on my back. In the middle of the night, the acid would come up and even go into my lungs, and it would hurt so bad, and the acid would burn my throat so horrible. And I would sit up for a half hour to an hour coughing and hacking and trying to get all that acid back down. It was horrible. I was taking Nexium, and it even got to the point that Nexium wasn't doing any good because I was still eating more. I was still uncontrollably eating, and so even Nexium couldn't do me any good anymore. And finally I'd quit doing the Nexium because it was messing with my kidneys. It was causing me to not urinate very easy. Nexium is very hard on the kidneys. And so it got to the point I was hardly urinating. And so I quit the Nexium, and it was even worse, because at least with the Nexium, only sometimes when I would go to bed would I end up with the acid reflux. But after I'd quit the Nexium, every night. But since I really started applying the Raydown, I mean seriously applying it, I've only had a few episodes, and then most of the time all I'd have to do is just take an antacid or two, and it would be okay, and then I would be able to lay down, literally lay down, in any position I wanted. Now, I don't really even have to take any acids at all. I've had to take a few in the last couple weeks, about 3, and that is just one on occasion, and it's not bad at all. On the whole part, it's fine. I have no heartburn. I have no acid reflux. I'm able to lay right down and turn over onto my right side and sleep. And it feels so good to be able to even turn over onto my stomach and sleep. I couldn't do that before. So doing the Raydown has made such a big difference with the acid in my stomach. It's so much more comfortable, and I'm not taking medicines to keep the acid in control. It is so wonderful. It is so wonderful. Let's go on ahead and read in phase 2. Getting back on track. Recently, we saw the movie Hook, starring Robin Williams and Dustin Hoffman. It is a movie about Peter Pan as an adult who has forgotten all about Never Never Land, Captain Hook, and Tinkerbell. In this version of the story, Peter has even forgotten who he once was, and he has forgotten how to fly. As the children try to help jog his memory, Tinkerbell teaches him to fly again. She tells him to concentrate on happy thoughts. The next thing you know, this grown man is flying as he remembers how to focus on the positive. He can fly because he is concentrating on happy thoughts. Think on God's way and His long-term rewards and practice. Practice, practice. That is the key to flying. A mother eagle teaches her young to fly by pushing them out of the nest. They instinctively hold out their rings. You too will have one ring out this week and the next ring out next week. Many times the mother eagle will have to swoop down and grab her babies to keep them from falling too far. She puts them back and does it again. They eventually build up coordination to apply enough lift and thrust to overcome the load and the drag. We can help push you out of the nest by encouraging you to focus. It does not hurt. You will be in no pain. You may need to regroup and restart when you find you are unfocused. One method you may wish to try is fasting. Try not eating for as long as God leads you to. Why empty your body of food? The reason is that emptying out may often help your body's energy off of the digesting of food. The reason is that emptying out may often help take your body's energy off of the digesting of food, and it gives you a focused mind. This extra boost of energy helps you funnel your attention back to your goals, to stop grabbing for food, and to wait on God to supply your needs. Current diet counsel suggests that fasting will damage lean body mass, and deprivation will cause you to binge uncontrollably. This is incorrect. Fasting leads to more control. Fasting is all over the Old and the New Testaments as an offering to God. God would not be asking us to damage the body. Fasting has been used for breaking strongholds. The one stronghold that fasting should not be used against is anorexia nervosa. The anorexic must not fast anymore, but be obedient to hunger or emptiness by eating every time they sense emptiness. Remember, fasting is not a goal in the Ray Down workshop. It is a means to an end, and not an end to itself. Fasting could be used in the beginning of Ray Down workshop, or when you really have gotten off track. I have got a scripture that I marked in my reading of Psalm, and I felt it was appropriate to read to you. It is Psalm 31, verse 24. Be strong and let your heart take courage, all you who wait for and hope for and expect the Lord. And that's my encouragement to you, to be strong and let your heart take courage, all you who wait for and hope for and expect the Lord. So don't give up, and take joy and be strong as you wait for Him, as you put your trust completely in Him and let Him take care of you and teach you and retrain you. Take courage and be strong. You've got this, because He's got you. You put your trust completely in Him, He's got you. So take courage. I was just thinking, the one really wonderful thing about the Ray Down, I mean, it is so marvelous, is that there's no calorie counting. There isn't. I hate counting calories. I hate it. I hate logging my food. It is a pain in the keister. Trying to log food that there isn't even a true mention of what it is, of how many calories and fat and carbs and all that, especially meats. It's extremely hard to get a precise count on meats. It is very hard. So I honestly hate counting calories. I hate logging my food. And that's the great thing about the Ray Down. You don't have to count calories. You don't have to log your food. You're going on a hunger and fullness basis only. You're not having to pre-plan a meal and make sure it's within the right range of calories and fat and carbs and protein and all that. You're not having to do that. You get to eat whatever your body is calling for at the time when you're hungry. And I love that, because there is no guarantee how much you're going to put down. There's no guarantee. When you're eating within the hunger zone, excuse me, my eye was itching. Felt like an eyelash, actually. It's probably my bangs. Anyway, when you are eating within the hunger zone and stopping when you're satisfied, what you may have originally prepared for yourself for a meal come around 300 to 600 calories. In reality, by the time you're done eating, because you get full, you might only consume 200 to 300, maybe 500 calories. It's according to when you feel full. So yeah, it's wonderful not having to log and count and prepare. You don't even have to read the nutrition labels. It's awesome. You don't have to do all that. And you still lose weight. Why? How? After what man has taught for so many years, for what, close to maybe 50 to 100 years, they've been teaching us that you can't eat this amount, or you can't eat that certain, or you have to have this certain amount. And I mean, how is it possible that by doing the Rae Down, where you can eat whatever you want, works? How is that even possible? Because, one, you're putting your trust in God. Two, because you're putting your trust in God, you're eating the way He created your body to eat. Three, because you're only eating when you're hungry and stopping when you're full, you're not pushing yourself beyond the boundaries of what your body needs. So therefore, it automatically, as it digests food, and especially if you allow yourself to wait another half hour to an hour when you feel hunger again, true hunger. If you wait like an hour, or like in a situation as she had mentioned, if you had ate a decent lunch and you're still full when it's time to feed your family, and so you don't eat with your family, or when you know that it's coming time to feed your family and you feel hungry like an hour or two before it's time, then you just go on ahead and skip that, and then by the time you fix your family meal, you're hungry. So by doing that, by waiting a little, just a little longer, not much longer, after you feel the first hunger pain, you're allowing yourself to eat a little bit off of the fat that's on your body. I mean, she mentioned this dietitian nutritionist, Gwen Shamlin, she mentions this, that as you're waiting and your body tells you that it's hungry and you don't feed it right away, it goes on ahead and eats off a little bit more on the body, off of the fat that's been stored. As you know, the body stores fat as a backup plan for energy later. So, I mean, not only that, but if there's a lot of food that's not been, that the body didn't need after all is processed, it goes on ahead and stores that. Instead of letting it all out, it stores it. So, you know, so that's how the Rae Down works. That's why it works. After man says that you can't eat that, you can't eat this, and you have to have this certain amount and that certain amount and that, you know, that's the reason why the Rae Down works, is because you are eating the way God designed you to. You are eating within the zone God designed you to eat. And therefore, because you are cutting down calories and fats and carbs and stuff by eating within the hunger zone and not beyond, you're cutting calories from a fraction to half. And guess what? Because you're doing that, that means you're not overtaxing your body, which means your body isn't into process overload, which means, think of it like a power gauge. This is the vision I see. It's a power gauge. You know, like pressure gauges, it's like on tanks and stuff, pressure gauges. And you want that gauge to stay in a low range. And there's that red zone on that pressure gauge, that red zone. And if that hand goes into that red zone, you're taking a chance of it malfunctioning, blowing up, or whatever. And that's what happens with the body if we overeat. We're putting a lot of pressure onto our body to process what we have put down into our body. And therefore, that gauge that should be on a lower digit is rising up into the red zone, which means that it will malfunction and it can cause you constipation and problems urinating and storing fat in the fat cells and lethargy and all kinds of things. The body literally goes into panic mode because the hand is in the red zone on that pressure gauge. So by us eating just within the hunger zone and not beyond, not in between, and not binging later, that pressure gauge is staying on the lower numbers where it needs to stay, and the body is operating properly, where it's processing just the foods that it needs to process. It's just processing what the body needs. You didn't give it more than what it needs, and it's processing it just fine. It's using up everything that's necessary for the energy, and it is letting out of the body what is not necessary. You're not overtaxing it one bit. That's why the Ray Down works. Has nothing to do with what you put in the body, but how much. It's how much. A lot of times, you know, man teaches us that you can't have this and that. Now, I guarantee you that if you enjoy nothing but junk food and no nutrition, then, you know, the body, it goes on ahead and processes that because there's a little bit of energy there, and it uses that. But on the whole part, that's going to end up going out of the body as well. But if you overindulge on it, then that's too much for the body to even process at all, and then you develop fat from it. Anyway, it's all right there in the book, right there, what the dietitian nutritionist wrote. So you don't have to come down on me. It's not me. It's what she wrote. I've read it to you. But anyway, that's what I like about the Ray Down. Something that I despise doing, I don't even have to do. And since I do like a lot of certain foods that to man is a basic no-no, like I love Chinese food. I love American Chinese food. My goodness, I love it. And as you know, they like their rice noodles, their lo mein noodles, and their fried rice, and their cooked rice. Well, guess what? I really prefer the rice noodles. I love the rice noodles. And if I have to get rice, I get fried rice. That's right. And as you all know, noodles is a high carb. Rice is a high carb. It's what's called a fast carb, which means it's loaded with sugar, natural sugar. But I love them. I love rice noodles. I eat the dehydrated rice noodles in my salad. And I love the cooked rice noodles that comes in the Chinese dishes. I do. I love Chinese food. I love the spring rolls and the dipping sauce. I love the cheese and crab ragoons. I do. I love Chinese food, American Chinese food. I love it. And I still eat it. For a lot of the diets that's out there, a man would be shaking his head and going, no, 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 you can't eat that, none of that, no, 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 no. The only thing that you might can eat is the vegetables that's inside that spring roll. Open it up, just eat the gut. I'm afraid I couldn't do that. I would not be a very happy person at all. And knowing how I am, if I would be restricted from the foods I enjoy the most, I would find myself running to those foods to get them. That's me. And, you know, as I've said, if there's any foods that any of you want to restrict in your eating pattern, that's fine. Go on ahead. It's up to you. Just like I said, I choose not to eat chips. I choose. It's not because the Raedown says I can't have them. The Raedown says I can. And Grin enjoys eating the tortilla chips. That's extra salty. So yeah, I choose, not because I have to, but I choose not to eat chips. And just like with Grin, sometimes I want a sweet with my meal, sometimes I don't. When I do want a sweet with my meal, I go on ahead and I pick out what I want. And I have it there to eat after my meal. When I know that I'm going to be wanting something sweet with my meal, I cut my meal short so that I've got room for that sweet. Just like she says to do, that if you're going to have a dessert, make room for that dessert. And a lot of times I take time out to slowly eat. Sometimes though I just go on ahead and gobble it up. But I've gotten to the point that I know where I'm at. I know when to stop, even if I don't eat so slow. So, but it's a learning process. It is. You don't instantly do it. You don't instantaneously do it. You have to constantly keep your mind set and your eyes on Him constantly, and stay focused on Him, and concentrate on paying attention to your body for the true hunger. Don't think about the food. Concentrate on your body and what it's telling you, if it's hungry or not. And it does, it works, it works. My clothes are becoming even more loose and baggy on me. My tanks, my black tank tops, I've got 3 of them, and they're starting to get baggy on the sides. I'm actually able to pull them out. They were just right on me. You know, I didn't have too much leeway on the sides, and now I can pull them out. I'm like, ow. So, yeah, it's awesome. I'm wearing my Maurices, and right here, when I was putting these on, like, I had to hold my stomach in just a little to get them zipped, and then that was it. But yeah, so, and I look forward to on day 90 when I get to try on some of those clothes that I showed you. I'm going to try those shorts on again, those blue jean shorts. I'm going to try those on again, and I'm going to see how those capris fit, if they fit even better. Because right now the way it is, they are a little snug, but like as I'd showed you, there wasn't so much of a muffin top. So I look forward on day 90 to see just how much more flattering those capris are, and how my stomach looks with them and stuff. It's exciting. I'm getting excited to find out. And as I wear my clothes, I'm trying on clothes more often to see if they fit, where at one time they didn't. And yeah, they're fitting, but they're still a little bit too snug. I wouldn't trust sitting down in them right now, because I wouldn't want to bust a button or a zipper. But on the whole part, I can't actually put them together, whereas before I couldn't. So yeah, clothes are starting to fit a little better on me, and hopefully I'm still a little scared to try on the shirts with the tight sleeves, but in time I'm going to be trying those shirts on as well with the tight sleeves. So, and the measurements, oh my goodness, I am looking forward to the measurements. I am so anxious to measure myself on day 90. This is day 76. There's 14 days left to go before I do the comparison video with the statistics, and I am so anxious. I'm so excited and anxious because, you know, like the first 2 months, the first 60 days of this series, I was applying the Rae Down, but not completely, not fully. I was still giving in to the lust of food is what I was doing. I was like doing well through the first part of the day and then giving in later at night. So even though I was applying the Rae Down, I wasn't going full blast at it. And of course I would repent. After I would eat, I would repent and tell God I didn't want to do that anymore. But it came down to a situation where there was some controversy, and it really caused me to put it into high gear, where I applied the Rae Down completely and fully without letting up. I mean, I lost 9 pounds in the first 60 days, and I could have done a lot better if I had really seriously practiced the Rae Down. I was only halfway, partially practicing the Rae Down and not to the fullest. I wasn't 100% trusting God with my eating. I was only trusting Him like 50%. I was only halfway in it. So the fact that I'd lost any weight at all was a miracle, and that was probably just because I was walking. But after the situation had happened, where there was the controversy, I decided that I was going to go 100% in to just prove it, because I know that the Rae Down works. And, you know, with the controversy, people didn't think I was going to be able to continue losing weight. They thought that I was going to either give up, or I was going to gain it back, or I just basically lost water. And so, you know, I wanted to be able to prove it. And that's what I had told God after the controversy. I said, Father, I want to prove you, and I want to prove the Rae Down. And so I really seriously put myself 100% into it and was no longer halfway in it. And a week later, He told me He wanted me to not exercise and for me to trust Him, to just wait for measurements and stuff and to not exercise and trust Him. And therefore, I would be able to prove Him and the Rae Down. And that's what I'm doing right now. Day 90 will mark the end of the non-clinical blind trial of the Rae Down. And on day 90, I'm going to be giving you my rate and my measurements. I'm going to be, I've already given countless videos of what I ate throughout the day. I'm not going to be doing those anymore. I'm not going to be food journaling anymore. I have showed enough videos of what I eat, what I enjoy eating. I have showed enough. And that right there is enough to make people roll their eyes and say, she's not losing weight, she's not going to lose weight. So that was the intention of that, for everyone to think, oh, she's full of it. Because I want to prove to you, it's just like when Elijah was against the prophets of Baal. And he said, I'm going to prove to you once and for all, which God is the true God. Let's make an altar. and you have your God burn the sacrifice. You don't apply the fire, He does. And then I will do my sacrifice, and my God will burn it. And that's what I feel like in a lot of ways, me doing the way down without exercise and me eating whatever I choose and me doing the videos that shows what I ate and waiting until day 90 for the statistics, I honestly feel like I'm just like Elijah. I've got my altar built, I've got my sacrifice prepared, and I have poured tons of water on it, tons of water on it. The prophets of Baal, they didn't put no water on their sacrifice. They just prepared the altar and prepared the sacrifice and started praying to Baal for him to do the fire. They even got to the point that they was cussing and cutting themselves, begging him to light that altar. He never did. Elijah mocked their God. Well, I don't necessarily want to mock anybody's diet, but what I have read in all of them, there is backfire in every single one. There is weight loss for a time, but there's backfire in every single one. Either the people gains the weight back, or there becomes major health issues later on down the road. But with every single diet, it backfires. And that is the prophets of Baal trying to get Baal to burn the sacrifice. Get as far as getting your altar built and your sacrifice ready. But when it comes to permanent weight loss or to being healthy or whatever it may be, there's no fire. There's no permit. There's no last. And I'm not going to mock the diets like Elijah mocked the prophets and their Baal. I'm not going to do that. Thing is, you all still have to choose what you want to do. And you all's going to do what you're going to do. And you all's going to rely on what you rely. And I hope and pray that in the future there is no backfire on you. I hope and pray that in the future that you don't end up gaining the weight back or end up having other unhealthy issues with your body because of the diet that you've been on. I hope and pray. But I also hope and pray that with this, just like with Elijah having all the water poured onto that altar, and it is saturated with water, it is soaked to the point it can't be soaked no more. Even a trench with water filled. Ain't no way a fire would burn that sacrifice in that altar and burn up all that water. Ain't no way. One prayer from Elijah. One prayer. And God the Father shot his fire down. Burned up that sacrifice to nothing. Burned up that altar to nothing. And ended up licking up all of the water out of that trench. That's my God. That's my Father. That's my Lord and King. That's my Jesus Christ. And just like the Ray down, with no exercise, eating what I want within the hunger zone, that's my altar, my prepared sacrifice with all the water. All the water. It's saturated. It is really saturated. There ain't no way I can lose weight with eating what I want and not exercising. No way. Just like no way fire could consume the altar with the sacrifice and the water. And guess what? On day 90, you all's going to see. You're going to see the power of my God and the power of prayer and the power of trust in Him. You're going to see my altar with the sacrifice and all that water completely be evaporated and burned up. And you will know that going through the Raydown, trusting God, and eating the way He created your body to eat is the only true way. I have given you so many testimonies of people who have applied the Raydown, and not just with overweight, but with hair pulling, and with bulimia, and one with alcohol. I've given you proof of other people's testimonies, and they have said how long they've kept the weight off, how much weight they lost, and how long they've kept it off. Years. And they're healthy. Even doctors are approving of the Raydown. Doctors are approving of the Raydown. And doctors are losing weight on the Raydown. I'm not mocking anybody's diet plan. You do whatever diet plan you want. But on day 90, you can really make a choice of if you want to stay on your diet plan, where you're having to count calories, where you're having to prepare your meals, where you're having to make sure that you've got a certain amount of macros compared to other macros, having to keep that certain percentage and balance that is required of this certain diet plan you may be on, or completely cutting everything out to the point that you're only eating plant and nothing else, whatever plan it may be. I'm free from that. I'm free from that. I don't have to do that. The Raydown works. It works. And you will really see. I lost 9 pounds in 60 days, just halfway doing the Raydown. Imagine how much weight I'll lose in 1 month going 100% in with no exercise. And the only thing I'm doing, guys, the only thing I'm doing is waiting for true hunger and stopping when I'm satisfied. That's the only thing I'm doing. That's for those of you who are secular and do not believe in God. That's all you got to do. That's all you have to do. Is just wait for true hunger and stop when you're satisfied. That's it. That's all you gotta do. That's all you gotta do. But for me, the second thing I'm doing is praying and trusting God to the fullest. And that's it. True hunger to satisfaction, and trusting Him to the fullest. That's it. That's it. No counting. No preparing. No reading labels. No logging. I love it. So yeah, I look forward to day 90. When the altar with the prepared sacrifice, and all that water is totally consumed by the fire of God. I look forward to it. I love you guys. And I promise I'm not mocking your diet. I promise. Because it's still your all's choice. I'm just telling you, you can be free from all this and still lose the weight that you're wanting. You don't have to feel guilty if you don't apply man-made rule. You don't have to. As long as you apply God's rule. So no, I'm not mocking your all's diet. It's still your all's choice. But I love you guys. And I appreciate you. I will see you tomorrow. Have a great day.